مساكم الله بالخير. اليوم عندنا ايفنت في سيجار روم، والايفنت هذا عن ماركة اسمها كويرفوز Y Sobrinos. على اساس كذي عندنا المدير العام للشركة. May I know your name? ماسيمو روسي ويانا اليوم. بنسولف عن الهيستوري مال الساعة، وبنسولف عن بعض الساعات اللي موجودة عندنا. عندنا تقريبا كم كبير من الساعات، فراح نقعد نسولف عنها بس نخطر عليها بطريقة غير مطولة. نسولف عن الكومبليكيشنز ونسولف أيضا عن الألوان والإمكانية اللي تقدر تشتري الساعة هذه. وكيل الساعة في الكويت هو الشهاب للساعات. راح أحط لكم المعلومات مالته في آخر الفيديو أو تحت الفيديو على أساس تقدرون تكلمونهم. Can you tell me about the history of the watch? What I know is it used to be one of the retailers in Cuba, and they used to have a lot of brands, and they used to carry Rolex, Patek Philippe, and they used to have also the insignia or the name of Cuervos Sobrinos on a Rolex and a Cartier, on a Patek, just like Tiffany and Co, just like all of these brands. Am I right?
Correct, you are completely right. So in fact, everything started in Cuba in 1862. This Don Armando Cuervo was a Spanish goldsmith. He emigrated from Spain to Cuba and opened up his shop for jewelry.
Yes.
And the business was growing during the first 20 years. He was somehow alone in his business, and in 1882 he then asked his nephews, 6 nephews, to join the business. First of all,
Sobrinos in Cuban means?
In Spanish.
In Spanish means?
Nephews.
Okay.
That's why the name in 1882, Cuervo and nephews, Cuervos Y Sobrinos, because he was getting, first of all, a little bit old, and the business was growing. So the official start of Cuervos Y Sobrinos was in 1882, and as you were correctly saying, Cuervos Y Sobrinos was a boutique.
Yes,
was
it's a
jewelry
exactly, and
watches shops, exactly as Tiffany in New York and Cartier in Paris.
Right.
So
and Bayer in Switzerland and Bucherer and all of these.
Exactly.
ففي 1882 يقول لك كويرفو واحفاده او مو احفاده ابناء اخوانه أسسوا الشركة، وكانت شركة ريتيلر، شركة توزيع للمجوهرات والساعات في كوبا، وكانوا يحملون براندات مثل رولكس ومثل باتيك فيليب ومن إلى. Please continue.
Exactly, and because the business was growing because first of all they were delivering good quality, good product, creative product, but also mainly because Cuba at that time was living a very golden era.
Right.
So
pre-embargo, everyone has money, everyone is happy.
Americans were coming
spending money
during the war. Also, a lot of Europeans, you didn't know what happened in Europe, so rich European guys went there, set up a business. So it was a truly cosmopolitan and interesting. You know, imagine that, for example, Havana was the first place where they had an hotel with air conditioning, completely monitored
in the world. This is what in what, the 20s, 30s?
Yeah, 30s. So the Hotel Riviera was the first hotel worldwide having a central air conditioning system. So, for example, Cuba was probably the 5th or 8th or 6th country that had railway.
Wow.
Because this was important for the sugar cane industry,
right,
which was very important in
right.
So to transport from the south and the north of the country the sugar to be sold to America, mainly they used the railway. So it was a very modern country, definitely the most modern within Central and South America.
من العشرينات إلى الثلاثينات من القرن السابق كان في انفجار عظيم في كوبا من ناحية الاقتصاد، وكان الصرف مهول. اللي يقول لدرجة إن ماسيمو يقول لدرجة إن أول فندق كان فيه تكييف مركزي كان في كوبا كان هو هوتيل ريفيرا. فكان الصرف عندهم كثير، يجون ناس من اوروبا ويجون ناس من امريكا، وكان عندهم طبعا غير بيع السيجار كان عندهم بيع قصب السكر والسكر اللي كانوا ينقلونه الى امريكا. فحتى من كثر الفلوس وازدهار الاقتصاد عندهم اسسوا، وهم سادس او سابع دوله ياسسون عندهم محطه قطار وسكك حديديه لنقل الامور هذه. So tell me about pre-embargo and post-embargo.
Okay, pre-embargo, it's clear. So the business was flourishing. So
They had all the brands.
the brands, and the fact that you can find a lot of very famous brands with the so-called co-branding. So
Right.
this is the name of the retailers. Is a sign. You have to imagine that at that time. So we are talking about 920, 30,
Yes.
40. They were not world brand like today. Today, even if you ask a teenager, they know Rolex. But
Right.
at that time,
No one knows
communication was so. But in Cuba, everybody knew Cuervos Y Sobrinos. So the name of the retailer was guaranteeing
That the product is good.
Correct.
Right. So if Cuervos Y Sobrinos has a Rolex, they know that Rolex is good.
Exactly. Like
Right.
if you go to Harrods, you assume that the products that are
Are exquisite and excellent.
Exactly.
Right. Right. Okay.
So then, of course, the mentality of those very skilled family members was an entrepreneur mentality, but they never really went into distribution. This is the difference between what Cartier has done, what Tiffany has done. So those people in America, and of course, because it's an island. So if you are on an island, it's a little bit more difficult to distribute the product outside from your place. They were distributing Cuervos Y Sobrinos in America and in South America. That's why you see a lot of Cuervos Y Sobrinos
Right.
today on the digital platform. But they never really distribute the watches in Europe, in Asia. So it remained somehow geographically limited. But nevertheless, the production was very important. It was one of the most important business in Cuba at that time, of course. And then, of course, as you know, 1959, the political situation started to change. Also, I have to say that even already during the Second War, of course, this was affecting the business of many people, and that's why when the revolution in '61 came, they somehow really decreased the business. The last Cuervos Y Sobrinos was done still under the revolution, under the Castro family in 1965, and was a military watch that the army of Cuba.
But they were made in Cuba, or they were made in Switzerland?
Never.
Never in Cuba.
Never in Cuba.
Always in Switzerland.
Always in Switzerland.
Okay.
You know, this is the demonstration why the watches were never done in Cuba. First of all, because we have testimony and witness that they were working at Cuervos Y Sobrinos in Switzerland. They had a factory, they had a workshop. And second, you know, after the revolution, it's logical that you know that nobody can sell to America a product that is made in Cuba. There are some.
So it has to be made in Switzerland.
It has to be made outside from Cuba. If not, we could not sell in America.
Right.
America today is our best market.
Wow.
But unfortunately, yes, with the revolution, everything stopped a little bit. So Cuervo remained very famous within the collectors world.
And within Cuba.
In Cuba, of course, but even outside Cuba. And that's why the brand never disappeared.
Okay.
And this gentleman that you were talking about before, Mr. Villa, at the beginning of the 2000 took over the brand and restart to distribute it.
Let me just translate all of that so we can move on. فمن 59 ل 65 نزل صناعة ساعات كويرفو في كوبا بسبب الحروب، بسبب بعدين طبعا الانقلاب اللي صار في 65. ولكن ساعات كويرفو دائما كانوا يتصنعون في سويسرا. وطبعا حتى بعد الانقلاب ما ينفع كانوا يشحنون ساعاتهم الى امريكا، فظلت لازم تتصنع في سويسرا، ينكتب عليها ميد ان سويسرلاند، ما يصير تنكتب عليها ميد ان كوبا، على اساس انها راح تنمنع من كل الدول اللي كانت معاديه للدوله الشيوعيه اللي كانت في كوبا. طبعا عندهم كانوا في كويرفو مثل ما قلنا البراندات الكبيره مثل رولكس وباتيك وكذي، وكان الشعب الكوبي ما يشتري شيء، يعني ما كانت معروفه باتيك ولا كانت معروفه رولكس في كوبا، لكن كويرفو معروف. فلما كويرفو يجيب ساعه معينه، الثقه في هذا الجولر في هذا المحل هذا اكبر من ثقتهم في البراندات نفسها. مو مثل اليوم اي واحد تقول له رولكس يعرف رولكس، او تقول له باتيك يعرف باتيك. لا، قبل كانوا الثقه في تيفاني والثقه في كويرفو والثقه في بير والثقه في بوخرر اكبر من البراندات نفسهم. كانت الناس تثق في الاسامي هذه اكثر من البراندات. في طبعا بعد الانقلاب وبعد هذا دش البراند في سبات عميق مده طويله، ورد احياها شخص اسمه فيلا ايطالي في سنه 2000 ورد البرودكشن. What happened after 2000?
So from 2000 the brand was relaunched in many markets, starting from Europe, Italy, Spain mainly, but then of course very soon USA, Japan, Russia. In 2015 we also start in China. So now the brand has really an international distribution, although we have 3-4 markets that are still our main market, which are US, Japan, China and Spain. And it's clear what is more important is that the philosophy of Cuervos Y Sobrinos from the relaunch was very similar to
the roots.
one of the roots. You know, I think that today vintage watches are quite trendy. There are many brands that do some vintage line, and Cuervos Y Sobrinos was restarted as a new
vintage watch.
So this is the core.
And when did it move from Villa to your?
Yeah, we keep the same means. We change a little bit our vision because we believe that.
But what year was that?
Last year.
2018.
So what we want to do is to keep the same philosophy. Of course, this retro modern DNA will remain.
That Cuban essence will remain. The colors, I can see them when I look. It looks like old buildings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also part of our strategy to create a more diversified segmentation within the collection, because we believe that Cuba is cigar, Cuba is sophisticated lifestyle,
yes.
right?
Colors, food, all of that.
But there is also a lot of history in Cuba. There is also a lot of fantastic nature. So what we want to do is really to capitalize on other dimension and history of Cuba to, let's say, position the brand. For example, this watch here, which has a more modern touch, is a bigger watch, is a pilot watch, and this is inspired by Domingo Rossi, who was the first pilot that crossed from Florida to Cuba. So he was the Lindbergh of Cuba, the Cuban Lindbergh. Lindbergh has done the flow through the Atlantic 20 years after Domingo Rossi, that in 1913 for the first time was flying the distance of 90 miles from Florida to Cuba. So there are many other history. Of course, the pirates are part of the Caribbean. The Caribbean, yes. Logically.
We will talk about all of these. All of these we will talk about them individually in a different video, and we'll talk about the stories. But the first video is just an interview to tell people about the history of Cuervos Y Sobrinos. Now, last thing before we end this video, why a humidor and the pens?
So the humidor, we believe that Cuervos Y Sobrinos
Yes.
is of course a niche brand. It's not necessarily the first watch that a gentleman buys. So we believe that the package, so what is behind the watch, is also very important. And we pay a lot of attention on details, on small gifts that we do. And humidor is a vehicle that shows the quality of the watch. So the quality of the package, which is a big box, is a humidor, is also conveying the quality of the watch. Logically, is a humidor because Cuba is the producer of the finest
cigars in the world.
But it's clear that not everybody that buys a Cuervos Y Sobrinos is a cigar smoker.
No.
But even though
It's a beautiful
you
box.
have a beautiful box, you can use it for other.
I have a Cuervo humidor, and I
Okay.
have my cigars inside and inside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the
So-
pens?
The pants is because, you know, Cuervos Y Sobrinos is a lifestyle brand, and this vintage spirit, this somehow carpe diem, taking your life in a way that you enjoy the moment of life, and writing today, taking a pen and putting some words in a piece of paper is almost very old-fashioned. Who is writing today? Everybody is on
Typing.
devices, any kind, mobile phone.
Everyone is
laptop.
typing.
Exactly. So nobody is, and we thought that to have a pen that you need to open and write down something, remind you that time is precious, remind you that sometimes you need to take time for the good things in life.
Beautiful. من سنة 2000 استلمها الإيطالي فيلا، ومن سنة 2018 استلموها ماسيمو. الفكرة هي ريترو كلاسيك واتشز، يعني ساعة كلاسيكية ولكن محرك وهندسة وتصنيع جديد. وهذه كانت الفكرة، هي تعكس تاريخ كوبا السابق اللي هو كانوا سباقين في بعض الأمور مثل الطيار. What's the name of the flyer? The pilot? دومينغو روسيو اللي شفنا الساعة اللي كانت على إيد ماسيمو، كان عابر من كوبا لفلوريدا. فما زالوا هم متمسكين في هذه الحقائق أو هذا التاريخ الجميل. طبعا بعدين تشوف الألوان انعكاس من أعمار وهندسة معمارية موجودة في كوبا، وفي ذوق الحياة اللي عندهم اللي كان فاخر جدا. وهذه اللي حاولوا في تصميم ساعاتهم يسوونه. وطبعا عندهم ايضا الاقلام اللي وريناكم اياهم، وعندهم علبه الساعات اللي هي علبه هيوميدور اللي ترمز الى السيجار اللي موجود في كوبا. وبنفس الوقت هي علبه جميله يفتخرون فيها لان هم يعتزون في تصنيع السيجار عموما في كوبا. فخلوا علبه الساعه ايضا هيوميدور سيجار. ويقولون انه بلشوا يسوون اقلام لان الناس لهت في تلفوناتها ولهت في التكنولوجيا، نست ان في فن في الكتابه، في فن في انك تاخذ وقتك انك تكتب الشيء، مو مجرد انك تستخدم اصابعك وتطقطق على او تضغط على ازره وتطلع الكلام. فهذا بس شرح شامل الى تاريخ كويرفو سوبرينوس. هذا الفيديو راح ينتهي هني، والفيديو اللي بعده ان شاء الله راح نسولف عن اللاينات والساعات اللي عندهم، نعطيكم شرح بسيط ونعبر على جميع الساعات اللي موجوده اليوم بالايفنت.